Hello students, welcome to Indira Gandhi National Open University, to the School of Humanities. Today, here I and Mrs. Gauri Nilakanthan, we are going to talk to you regarding the topic editing books for children. Well, let me introduce both of us first of all. I am Dr. Nandini Sahu. I am a reader in English in the School of Humanities, and here we have with us Mrs. Gauri Nilakanthan. She is an expert in performing arts and theatre for children. We both are going to discuss with you regarding the use of art and graphics and multimedia information technology in children's literature. Well, from the School of Humanities, we are offering a PG Diploma program in book publishing, PGDBP. Earlier we had one program on PG certificate in copy editing and proofreading, which we are converting into a full-fledged PG Diploma program on book publishing. And this particular course, on which today we will be discussing with you, editing books for children, is the course 5 of that program. Well, this is the course 5, it's a 4-credit course under which we will be discussing on various subjects regarding editing books for children. And for this program, let me share the happy news with you that we have signed one memoranda of understanding with the Federation of Indian Publishers, who will be providing you the training and the placement part, and IGNOU in collaboration with them is preparing the study material for the program. And under this program, we have 8 courses, out of which this is the course 5, editing books for children. And under this course, I have 4 blocks. Let me introduce all the blocks to you. So slide please. So the block 1 is editing books for children, and it is basic editorial competences. And under this there are 4 units: understanding the issues of language, vocabulary, phonetics and grammar. And unit 2 is understanding developmental psychology of learners. Unit 3 is editing multimedia packages, and unit 4 is art and graphics, and these 2 units will be the points of focus for today. And the next block is block 2, editing general books for children, of course, editing books for preschool children, editing stories, fables and adaptations, abridged versions. Unit 3 is editing scientific literature, adventures, thrillers. Unit 4 is editing biographies, narratives and travelogues. Under block 3, we have editing educational publications, editing textbooks, editing literature for the adolescent, editing magazines, editing dictionaries and encyclopedia for children. And block 4, beyond textbooks, editing comics and illustrated books, editing teacher support materials, editing patriotic literature for children, editing literature for children with special needs. And today the point of focus is information technology for children. Well, we all know that information technology is very important in children's literature, and in the course we will be discussing how the books may be supported by the interactive CDs. Children's literature has become very popular, and children's literature has also become very advanced, very modern, and mythical and historical tales are projected in the animated forms, which will definitely be a part of this course. Then science and visual encyclopedias will be there. Then Talkit software and talking dictionaries will be there, and rhymes and mathematics CDs, and all these things will be the points of focus for today. Well, today we will discuss with our subject expert, Mrs. Gauri Nilakanthan, regarding editing arts and graphics in children's literature. So Mrs. Nilakanthan, welcome to IGNOU.
Thank you.
Why does editing art and graphics become so important? Would you like to explain that?
Yes. See, the basic for any book is art and graphics.
Right.
Say from the elementary, when you open a book, you will see graphics and you will see art pictures.
Definitely.
So they attract the immediate focus of a reader. The picture attracts the attention.
Exactly.
So you see, it helps us to understand text better.
Yeah.
Firstly, it helps us to understand text.
Yeah.
So the written word becomes more clear with the picture.
Naturally.
Secondly, Napoleon Bonaparte, you must have heard this. He said this: a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Exactly.
So one picture can evoke so many responses and so many, it can explain so many facts.
Exactly.
Now, what I want to say here is that it does not mean that when we are editing for art and graphics,
Right.
the editor has to be a skilled painter.
Exactly.
That is not what is meant here.
Exactly.
What is meant here is that he should know the basic, whether the picture is looking nice, whether the picture is not fitting in with the text. That is important.
Exactly.
Then we must also keep in mind that the content is important here.
Okay.
So the content is of primary importance,
Okay.
but art and graphic assist, which we will be covering very shortly in
Right.
detail,
Right.
but they assist in the formation of the text better.
Yeah, so it is more so in case of children's literature, because children love the visual arts. If the children's literature is supported by interactive graphics and arts, then it becomes very illustrative and interesting for children. It can go to their long-term memory, right? So would you like to explain what should the editor be conversant with? Because in this program, what we are trying to exactly do is to create a pool of specialized editors in children's literature. Suppose after completion of this course, any student is interested to take up his career in any publishing house where editing books for children, preparing books and CDs for children is the specialized thing, then the student has to learn all these things. So I would like to know from the expert today that what are the particular things that the student should know.
Okay, I just said first that the editor need not be a skilled artist.
Right.
But that does not mean that he should not have some skills at all.
Right.
He has to have some basic skills.
Exactly.
So we will be covering this. First, color and color scheme.
Okay.
What is the color to be used in the graphic and the art? He should be familiar with formation of colors, what colors feel like, how they look in the art, and the color scheme.
Okay.
Secondly, he should know what is the balance of the picture.
Okay.
Some objects can be very long,
Okay.
some objects can be very short. There should be some inbuilt balance. Perspective. What is the picture trying to convey? What is the perspective that is being given?
Okay.
Thirdly, he must keep in mind symmetry.
Okay.
And you can show the slide also.
Slide, please.
Yeah, slide, please. Yeah. So it's symmetry. The next, the symmetry.
Yeah.
And then the editor should be aware of the composition of
Okay.
the basic picture and consistency. Every picture should have some balance, some important aspect of consistency.
Okay.
So we have color, color scheme, balance and perspective, symmetry, composition and consistency. These are the points he has to keep in mind.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. So explain the basics of the color and the color scheme. What are the basics?
Okay. Basics of color and color scheme. Slide please.
Yeah.
Colors help the illustrations to become more vibrant. See, we see that if there is only a black and white picture or a dull picture, which doesn't have any color, the children will not get attracted to it.
Exactly.
So if there is color in it, it
Yeah.
becomes more vibrant, more meaningful and more interesting. That is the one thing.
Exactly.
Secondly, color and color scheme, the art and graphics is done by the graphics designer and the artist, layout artist. But the editor, the color is a personal choice. The editor should not tamper with the choice of the artist.
Right.
But he should be aware of the color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thirdly, the reader's reactions have to be kept in mind. Are the children understanding the picture or the children not understanding the picture? What are the reactions of the children towards the picture?
So in a way, the editor has to be very creative.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
editor has to be very creative, as well as he should not spoil the choice of the artist but assist the artist.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then every color has certain tint. What is meant by tint? Shade. Light shade or dark shade. That is called tint.
Okay.
Secondly, it has intensity. It can be dark or it can be light.
Okay.
Right? That is intensity. And thirdly, it has diffusion. That is, one color recedes into another color.
Okay.
One color fades and another color emerges.
Right.
That is called diffusion.
Okay.
The same thing in whenever we want to make a color very strong,
Yeah.
you know, whenever we want to make a color very stand out, we add some black
Okay.
and it stands out. The same way when we want to lighten a color, we add white. So these some points that the editor should keep in mind.
Right.
Now, what I would like to do is, the next slide please. I would like to talk a little bit about
The
colors,
The color wheel.
color wheel and color wheel and warm colors, cool colors and mixing of colors.
Yeah, so in this context, just I would like to point out, see, we all go to the book fair. For children's books, there are so many bookstalls, and we all just go and see how colorful the books are. So the colors play a very vital role in children's literature. Colors, illustrations, discussions, and all these things. Graphic, visual, or art, and all these things play a very vital role. So in this context, the expert today is going to discuss the color wheel, right? Yeah.
Color wheel are 6 colors which are basic colors which are found in this earth.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and this was actually said by Isaac Newton in 1666.
Okay.
He is the one who said, you know, there is a color wheel.
Okay, okay.
So there are basically 6 essential colors.
And we have taken the idea to children's literature.
Yes, we are taking the idea to children's literature because the editor should know about the color wheel.
Exactly.
What is the color
So
wheel?
that's what we will be discussing in the course material, right? So in the study material that we will be giving you for this program, we will be discussing color wheel and this idea that we are discussing here today.
Yeah. So the color wheel has certain colors. What are the color wheel colors? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple.
All vibrant colors.
All vibrant colors.
Right, right.
Which the children will get attracted towards.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Now in this, red, yellow and blue
Yeah.
are called primary colors.
Okay.
And the editor should know.
Okay.
You know, he should know these are primary colors.
Okay.
Why are they primary colors? Because they are primary colors because they form the base of all the other colors.
And they're soothing also.
And they're soothing. In fact, actually, red and yellow are called warm colors because
Okay.
they create some kind of warmth. You know, like the sun,
Okay.
red. You know, so it's the sun and all it's warm colors.
Right.
And the blue are cooling colors.
Exactly.
So then we have orange, green, and purple
Yeah.
are called secondary colors.
Fine.
Now these secondary colors and primary colors,
Yeah.
these are the colors which are placed in one next to another.
Okay.
So we see many of the children's pictures, they use these colors.
Yeah.
They use these primary colors and secondary colors to evoke strong responses among the readers.
Yeah.
Because you know it's in the adult children's books that we see, you know, shading and different kind of, you know, multi-layering of colors. But in children's literature we see basic primary colors.
Yeah.
Now also we see that when we have colors placed next to one another,
Yeah.
they are called equivalent colors.
Means that the color combinations should be very intricate and very clever.
Very clever.
Exactly.
So they are clever and they should also be using a lot of the primary colors
Yeah.
and the secondary colors.
Okay.
You should not, like if you are doing a picture of a tree and a house and a bird.
Yeah.
Please do not make it all in green.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the editor sees everything in green,
Yeah.
the bird is also in green, the tree is also in green, and the house is also in green,
Yeah.
it will not attract the child.
Yeah.
But if you have a roof in red,
Yeah.
one basic color, primary color,
Yeah.
we have the body in purple, the bird in green,
Yeah.
or the tree in green, and oranges in orange color, it will attract the reader.
Definitely.
So that is what the editor should be aware of this.
Yeah. So that means, you see, the job of the author, the writer, is to write a story or say write a myth or a biography for children. But the role of the editor is very important because, you know, you are the students of editing books for children. So when the author writes something for you, you have to take care that it is written properly. Also the illustrations, the picture, the visual, the graphics, the art that go with all these writings, the stories should also be appropriate and exactly correct. Exactly, they should go with the storyline. So you have to be very careful about the color combinations that Mrs. Nilakantan has been discussing now, right?
Like one point I want to say is, like supposing we have grey.
Okay.
cloud, we want to show a cloud, a sad cloud. We show the cloud with drooping eyes and grey in color. If we show a red cloud, it will be angry.
And it should go with the storyline.
It will go with the storyline. Exactly. We cannot tamper with the storyline. So supposing we have a fiction for children about an angry cloud and a sad cloud. They both are friends. So we have the angry cloud in red, we have the sad cloud in grey.
Yes, we are slowly coming to the fiction and non-fiction, and then what type of color combinations should be used in the fiction and non-fiction. But the next thing I would like to ask Mrs. Nilakantan is, what is perspective?
See, perspective is something which appears, which we make something appear closer to us.
Okay.
Like we have a bus, a speeding bus. Supposing we have a story about a bus.
Right,
okay, and we want to show the bus coming very fast. So we show the picture in such a way that it is coming nearer to us. So when we show the picture coming nearer to us, it causes a sense of perspective. And this perspective, you know, the editor can judge how is the perspective to be made, whether it is needed or whether it is not needed. You know, some kind of perspective, like suppose if this perspective is also very important in, you know, some kind of three-dimensional pictures that we want to show for mathematics, like a pie or a chart. You know, a pie diagram, or we want to show a perspective, a whole perspective of the earth. We want to cut the earth in slices. You know, a graphic of a picture cut in slices, and then we show the stratosphere, the lithosphere, you know, the various parts of the earth. I might be wrong in the correct, you know, there is mantle, the crust. So we see all these parts of the earth can be shown. So perspective gives us, it tells us how to view a subject.
So from perspective, I am reminded about the important role to be played by the editors. You see, students, the writer is emotional, right? So he conceives an idea, he puts it into black and white, and he is very emotional. So in a story, sometimes the writer may commit certain mistakes unknowingly. But if the editor is very careful, then only the work of art can be perfect. So sometimes, like, the writer may start a story when something is happening in the morning. He will describe all things related to the morning, the visual, the scene, the scenario, everything is in the morning. Then he may end up dealing the story sometime in the evening. Okay, unintentionally, because the writer is emotional about the story. It is his brainchild. But this is the job of the editor, to give a finishing touch to it, to give perfection to it. So this is how the perspective, which Mrs. Nilakantan discussed now, is very, very important for the editor to know. So the next question I would like to ask you is, what is balance and composition, and how is the balance and the composition maintained in art and for children's literature particularly?
Let us take a picture again. We are only talking about art here, right? We're talking about pictures for children. Now we want to show a picture of a classroom. What is the important thing? The central character is a teacher, teaching. So maybe we show the teacher in the center, and we show the blackboard at the back. We show, you know, desks and chairs, something written on the blackboard. So we show that in smaller lettering, smaller figures, while the picture of the teacher is larger figure. So there is a balance being created. So in the the editor should look for this, that who's the central figure. The central figure should be highlighted. Now supposing the story is not about a dog. There is no dog in the story. There is no point in showing a dog in the picture. You know, I'm just saying that is unnecessary. So you have the editor should keep in mind what is the balance, whether the picture is not out of balance or it is in balance. That is what he has to keep. So the background should also be, like, for example, if we want to show a picture about a classroom, what are the things that go into a classroom? A piece of chalk, a duster, two children fighting with one another. So those things also should be there. So the editor should see, is the background there? Is the background? It should not look like a school, like a house. The school, you know. So that this is what he has to keep in mind for the
because
art.
the children's film should not be like documentary films. It should be a lot of you know, a lot of entertainment should be there, a lot of colors should be there, interesting things should be there. So it's both in case of the children's books where visual art and graphics are used, colorful pictures are used, and also for the children's films. right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is where he has to keep, and also he has to see that too many pictures should not be kept, like images. Like for example, a teacher teaching and a boy fighting and a dog chewing a bone.
Okay.
Too many things.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so he has to keep central focus on something. So the editor should keep in
So
mind.
that creates confusion. When too many pictures are there, the storyline is lost somewhere. So that editors has also, means the editor has also to keep it in mind that there shouldn't be too many pictures. There should be a balance between the storyline and the use of the pictures and the beautiful colors and all, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the next I would like to discuss with is what is consistency in art? How do we maintain consistency?
See, what happens in consistency in art is, supposing the story is talking about morning,
Right?
you cannot show a picture of the night.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Supposing you want to, especially in comic books, this is important.
Yeah.
What happens is, if the picture is showing morning,
Yeah.
the next picture should also show morning.
Yeah.
And the next picture should also show morning,
Yeah.
then gradual receding to evening,
Yeah.
then receding to night. So there should be consistency maintained.
Okay.
There should be sameness which is being maintained. Consistency means sameness.
Okay. Okay.
The same way, we have, supposing there is a character, secondary character should be introduced to. Like we have a picture of, like supposing a boy and a dog.
Okay.
You want to show the picture of the dog, don't show immediately. First show the tail, then show the feet, then show the entire dog coming. But then the dog should look the same.
Yeah.
If the boy is wearing red clothes in the first picture,
Yeah.
he should wear red clothes in the second picture also, unless there is some change of time,
Exactly.
passage of time.
Exactly.
So this is how the consistency, the editor should look and see,
Yeah.
okay, the shoes are, brown, was brown in that first picture, it should be brown in the second picture also.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is consistency being maintained.
Okay.
These are the points, and the color should be uniform.
Yeah. So, well, how do we explain graphics?
See, graphic has been used from time immemorial. Graphic is basically, a kind of a representation of a visual thing, of
Okay.
an object,
Okay.
and it can be used. It is used in visual communication that combines both images and words and ideas.
Okay.
Words, ideas, and images all combined together
Okay.
make a graphic. And also you see it is found in logos, websites, newspapers, books, periodicals, advertisements.
Yes.
So we see advertisements, big graphics written. You see the lettering of the letters are in graphics. These are graphics.
Okay. These days a lot of children's magazines are coming up, online children's magazines, then magazines for children, and magazines based on writings by children. So when you are taking up your career as an editor for children's books, you have to take all these things into consideration. So if your assignment is to look after a magazine by children, where children are writing, then you can discuss with the children. Suppose they have written poems, they have written stories and all, you can just supplement pictures, art and graphics and all these things, and you can make it more lively, more entertaining. And in case it is a children's magazine online, then your job is more so, because online journals for children should be very entertaining and very colorful and also interactive. There may be provisions given in the magazines, in the journals online for children that they can give their feedback, they can discuss with you, they can send their emails to you, or they can send their suggestions and views to you. So this is what is our point of discussion today. And next is, I would like to know from you, how is the text and the type maintained?
What is meant by text? And what is type, first of all?
Okay.
When we see the letter A
Yeah.
written in capital letters,
Yeah.
it is a type of a letter.
Well.
When we see it in small letters,
Mm-hmm.
it is a type of a letter. When we see A written in squiggly lines,
Okay.
it is written in a type.
Okay.
So certain things has to be made visually attractive. When we write down a letter, it should look beautiful.
Okay.
Like we can make the letter thick or thin or short or small or big. Like for example, if we are writing the word strong,
Okay.
we can make S very big,
Right.
T small, R small, O big,
Yeah.
N small, G big.
Yeah, yeah.
So it gives a visual image. So that is what is meant by type. Now also we see the editor should take care about this very important point. Foreign letters, like we have certain Sanskrit words written, or we have certain Hindi words written, it should be in italics or the
Okay.
squiggly line.
Okay.
Italics should be used for foreign letters. Many editors do not make this. They overlook.
Okay.
So you see, if there is, you want to introduce a word of Hindi like vriksh,
Okay.
a Sanskrit word, a Hindi word like vriksh,
Yeah.
or meaning tree.
Yeah.
So we have to write vriksh if it is written in English in italics.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, we have to see that many editors, what they do is they leave the text, they put spell check on,
Exactly.
and they do not bother.
Yeah.
And if the spell check is saying some read wrong, then they think it is wrong.
Yeah.
See, spell checks are not foolproof.
Yeah.
For example, we might have written instead of OWN, we might write WON.
And it will
And it will come out correct.
Naturally.
But then the editor should read
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not go only by the spell check or the proof.
Exactly.
And also we see certain poems, if they are written in squiggly lines,
Yeah.
then the child will be forced to read the poem.
Yeah.
And poems are meant to be read.
Yeah.
They are not meant to be just read internally, but read out.
In case of children, it should be read aloud. Loud reading should be encouraged for children.
So if you write it in cursive handwriting or in
Yeah.
joint handwriting,
Yeah.
the child will find it interesting to read it.
Yeah.
And he will be more slower and he will read it.
Yeah.
So we see also we have logos. They should be written in such a way that they attract the attention. So all this should be kept in mind while doing the text and the type. One important point I want to say is the letter I, the letter K, the letter I, the letter J, the letter L. These letters should be taken care of. I can look like L, L can look like J.
Yeah.
So these are the important points that editor should take in mind.
Yeah.
And also we should avoid writing in capital letters. It
Okay.
will look as though the children are as if it is screaming going on.
Okay.
It should be in small letters as well as capital letters.
Yeah.
You should avoid capital letters. And also we should learn the punctuation marks. The editor should be aware about the punctuation mark,
Yeah.
where there is a comma, where there is a full stop to be written.
Yeah, students, I will, being a teacher, I will never encourage you, in case you are an editor for children's literature, I will never encourage you to use such things like the SMS language or the internet language in the children's literature. So there was a time when children were not very demanding. When we were children, or say before some time, children were not very demanding. Whatever was given to them, they used to accept. But now children are getting a lot of exposure through the internet. It's an age of internet, so children are getting a lot of exposure. So when you are an editor for children's literature, you have to take into consideration every detail. And also, like the expert pointed out now, that in the children's literature, you should take extra care of the grammar, the punctuation marks. Initially, when we launched this program, this course, then I had discussed with you that if you are taking up editing as your career, then you must have proficiency of the language, English language in this case, because the course is in English. So you must have mastery over the language. So in whichever language you are editing the books, you must have the mastery over the language, so that you don't skip anything and you don't get slack while using the language. The language should be correct, because children's mind is just like, it's very, children's mind is very innocent. So whatever they see in the books, they take it for granted, they accept it. So in the childhood itself, if we are giving them wrong impression about language, using small letters here and there, using small letters for proper names and all, then the children will take it for granted and they will take it into their mind. So be very careful. We should be very careful when we are editors for children's literature about all these minute details, right? Okay, so Mrs. Nilakanthan, the next I would like to discuss with you is, what are the different types of graphics?
Yeah, there are many types of graphics. First one, drawing. Simple drawing is a graphic.
Okay.
Okay, we have so many drawings which we do for children in
Yeah.
children's books. That is one type of graphic.
Yeah.
Secondly, paintings.
Okay.
Paintings are also a type of graphics.
Okay.
Paintings are actually not used in children's literature so much, but we
Huh.
do show it sometimes,
Okay.
when we want to show human body, or especially some paintings are done. Okay,
Mhm.
that is painting.
So paintings and drawings, how do you differentiate?
Painting is using of like some watercolors or water crayon colors.
Okay.
And drawing a simple drawing. It can be simple drawing like stick figures or simple drawings.
Yeah.
But painting is much more elaborate and much more in detail and much more elaborate. Yeah.
Okay,
But drawing can be a simple drawing. In chalk and crayon.
Yeah.
Chalk and crayon. Okay. Then we have illustration. Illustration is illustrating a character.
Okay.
There is a boy who's the central character.
Mhm.
You are illustrating him. That is called an illustration.
Okay.
Then we have graphs, which is used in mathematics
Mhm.
and in geography.
Yeah.
Graphs. Then we have diagrams,
Mhm.
which are explaining of sort of maybe the process of the pumping of the heart.
Okay.
That is drawn through a diagram.
Okay.
Then we have maps, which
Mhm.
are used in geography and history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have photographs.
Yeah.
So photographs are used, but here I would like to tell you that while we are choosing photographs,
Yeah.
the editor should make sure that the photographs are not very violent.
Okay.
And they are very, they should not be, like supposing there is a history lesson on World War II.
Yeah.
You should avoid showing violent pictures to the child. That is, so these are the types of graphics that are.
Okay. Students, you can be very creative when you are dealing with children's literature. You can pour out all your creativity, your imagination, whatever imaginations you have had since your childhood. Once you are an editor or a writer or a publisher for children's literature, you can just pour out all your creative imagination. Here you get a lot of potential, you get a lot of opportunity to enhance your creativity and then to reach out to children. Now we are coming to a very interesting section. I would like to discuss with the expert that how is graphics done for fiction and how is graphics done for the non-fiction, fiction and non-fiction. Yes.
Oh, what is the difference between fiction and non-fiction? First,
Yeah.
let us understand that.
Yeah.
Fiction has use of story.
Okay.
Whereas non-fiction, there is no story.
Okay.
Okay, so that is the main important thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in fiction, the most important thing has to be kept in mind is the story and the illustration of the story.
Okay.
So you cannot draw a diagram.
Well, you see, so mathematics is non-fiction,
Yes.
right? But now children's mathematics has become so funny. Through mathematics also we play with children,
Yes.
isn't it? So in that case, how do we go about it?
Now, when we are playing with children,
Yeah.
like for example, we are going to tell a story about two friends buying apples.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can say Ram and Shyam went to the market,
Mhm.
and they saw description section of a market,
Yeah.
and then they saw oranges, and they saw lemons, and they saw limes. Or Ram and Shyam went to Egypt to see some pyramids of Giza. They saw 7 pyramids on the way. Then after that they saw one pyramid which was broken down. So how many pyramids did you see in all?
Yeah. So
Like that.
This is pure fun.
Yes, so it can be fun also.
Yeah.
And then you can draw a picture of a pyramid with Ram and Shyam walking and looking at the pyramids of Giza.
Yeah, so just I want to know how to differentiate these two things, because here mathematics, which is non-fiction, also has become very entertaining.
Yes.
Without which the mathematics will be very dull and boring and children may not be interested to do that.
Yes.
Isn't it?
See, what happens is, remember that a non-fiction carries some fact and
Okay.
some information.
Okay.
Whereas in fiction, it is imaginative. Give it some information in an imaginative manner.
Okay.
In a creative, you're thinking of something which has really not happened. Which, what has not happened is told in a storyline. So that is the non-fiction, that is the fiction. Whereas in mathematics or in science, we are giving some facts of the human body or the world or the society. We are giving some facts.
Okay.
So now you see, when we are doing graphics for fiction, the illustrations and the drawings are very important in this, because they assist the story to go further. So they will attract the story, they will attract the child to read the book. Okay, that is so also we have to see in that book cover. The cover of the book and the back of the book is also very important.
Yeah, which the editor has to take care. The cover design of the book also is the job of the editor, isn't it?
Yeah, the editor has to look at the book cover. How does the cover look like? Is it beautifully done?
Yeah.
Is it going to attract the child? And does it talk about the story or is talking about something else?
Because children go by the cover page. They just look at the book. They whichever shop they go, they just look at the book. If the cover page is very interesting, they immediately pick the book. So the editor has to also be very careful about the cover design of the book. At the same time, the cover design should not be exaggerating the story. Suppose it's a biography or an autobiography of any great man, then the fact should be there. Like we're discussing now, that there should be fact. There should not be something very imaginative. I want to make somebody look very beautiful, so I cannot do that. Isn't it?
Exactly.
Yes.
And then also the back. The back is also very important.
Okay.
So, equally, the important is the front as well as the back. Also, normally in fiction we see the small story is written in small,
Yeah.
so that the child can read it and understand whether he wants to buy the book. The editor should take care about that also.
Okay.
Okay. So then we have non-fiction. We have non-fiction where here we have uses of symbols, diagrams, charts, maps to make our content more interesting.
Okay.
This is what we do in. So this is not entertainment, but
Okay.
is informative.
Yeah.
It's not sold at entertaining the child, but to give some information of the child. You know, we also see certain pictures as throughout. It's called throughout. You open the book and something pops out of the book. You know, they make the children very interested in reading it. One pull out, like maybe a map coming out of the book. You know, so then they will make it interesting to read. And usually in graphics for non-fiction, we have simple graphics in black and white, or we have it in simple colors. Not too many colors and vibrant colors are not used, except in for small children.
Okay.
And then in this, I want to keep in mind that for higher levels, the glossary, the endnotes, the glossary, the footnotes, all this the editor should keep in mind. The footnotes,
Okay.
the glossary, the endnotes.
So do you think that use of the endnotes and footnotes and all are very important for children? Do they look at it?
For the higher classes, yes. Sometimes children do look at the glossary.
Yes, of course.
They
In this
definitely look at
in this course, we are dealing with children of different age groups. We are classifying it into 3 categories. Very small children, say 3 to 7 years. Then another category of children will be 7 to 11 years. Then the adolescents, the teens, say 12, 13, 14 years old children. So maybe for the higher category, upper category of the students, we should use the footnote and all.
Yes,
these things.
especially the footnote glossary for terms.
Okay.
When the child is not aware of certain terms,
Yes,
the
yes,
child
yes.
often refers to the glossary and
Exactly.
tries to find out the meaning from the glossary.
Yeah. And it is more so in case it is a translated version of some regional language to English.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we might have some Kabir's
Stories.
stories.
Or Kabir Dohas and
Kabir Dohas. The child will not be able to understand certain words.
Exactly.
Especially in Hindi, we often find glossary.
Yeah.
In English literature also we find glossary.
Yeah, naturally we have to.
Yes.
Like Iliad's Iliad and Homer's Iliad and Odyssey and all these things, these are reduced to children's literature, the abridged versions. In these cases, the glossary is very, very important.
And for class, when the child is especially 14, 15, 16, the end notes are also very important.
Very important.
Yeah, because they supply us some more further information.
Exactly.
So this can be used in non-fiction very well.
Yes, yes. Because children's literature is not only entertaining, it is informative. It has to be informative because children learn a lot from books. In this age of information technology, when we are so addicted to the TV and to the internet and to the computer and all, still the importance of the black and white is very much there, and it will be there forever. The book lovers are increasing day by day. The situation in India and say in the world, the entire world, about the reading public, the book lovers, is increasing. So we can never think it less important while editing books for children. Well, another thing, students, in IGNOU we take special care of the differently abled category. We have a special cell here which is looking after the differently abled people, and in this particular course, editing books for children, one of the units is completely devoted to the children who are differently abled. So in this context, I would like to ask our expert today that how does she explain, what are the points to be kept in mind while doing graphics for the visually challenged children? Right? Yeah.
You see, visually challenged need not mean completely 100% blind.
Okay.
That is important to remember.
Yeah. Means they should have the understanding of color.
Yeah, they should have the understanding. They are not completely blind children.
Okay.
They can see something, but they cannot see. Maybe 90% visual, maybe 10%, maybe 90% they cannot see, but 10% they can see. Maybe 99% they cannot see, but 1% they can see. Maybe 100% they cannot see. So there are categories of visual impairments also. Some people can see half colors but cannot see some colors. So what happens in this, we should color contrast. If it should be kept very high.
Okay.
If it is red, it should be very dark red.
Okay.
And if it is light, it should be very light.
So you mean to say that the story can be read aloud to them?
Yes.
And then if they look at the book, they should have something to imagine.
Imagine.
Okay.
And the pictures that are done in the book, the colors that are used should be very strong.
To enhance their imagination.
Exactly, to enhance the imagination.
Right.
So, so that's easily, if it is very light red, how will the child be able to understand visually impaired? He
Yes.
cannot see properly.
Yes.
So if it has to be red in color, it has to be very strong in red.
Okay.
If it has to be light in color, it should be very light in color. So the dark colors have to be darkened, while
Okay.
the light colors have to be lightened.
Yeah.
That is important. So also we need to be tactile, that is
Yeah.
to touch and feel.
Yeah.
So for a map, for instance,
yeah.
the blind person should touch and feel. For
Yeah.
example, if it is sand,
Mhm.
maybe some other texture can be used. You know,
Okay.
maybe some soft material can be used for sand.
Okay.
If you want to say mountain, maybe some rugged, something pointy can be used for map. You know.
Okay.
Supposing they want to say grassland, maybe some other texture can be used.
Yeah.
So the texture is very important. And remember, the editor should feel everything himself.
Okay.
Should feel and see. Okay, am I feeling correctly? Is it feeling like the way the child can feel? So that is important.
Okay.
And also graphics should be very simple.
Huh.
Too many images should not be made for the visually impaired child.
Okay.
Suppose you make it simple so that
Yeah.
the child can see the picture and understand the picture.
Yeah.
Even if he has 1% of sight, at
Yeah.
least something the child can see and make out.
Yeah.
So it should not be too cluttered. It should be
Exactly.
simple.
Exactly.
All the categories should be nicely labeled.
Okay.
You know? If it is water, land, air, all should be written in bold and nicely labeled, so
Yeah.
that it should be every graphic should be felt, seen and understood by the editor.
Okay.
So this editor should be extra sensitive
Yeah. Yeah.
while doing it for her.
Yes, a lot of sensitivity is required if you are taking up children's literature as your profession, as your career. Only sensitive and creative people who love children can be a part of it,
And
isn't it?
especially for all the more if you are doing it for visually handicapped
Yes,
children.
it's more so because you have to be very sympathetic. Rather, you should be empathetic towards them. Okay, Mrs. Nilakantan, how do you introduce multimedia?
You see, multimedia is a multiple tool.
Okay.
Multiple tool that uses multiple sensation. So for example, audio, listening, visual, as well as sight, sound, both are used.
Yeah.
You see, so it is a auditory as well as the visual
No,
component.
I
goes
mean, how do
together.
you associate it with children's literature?
You see, multimedia is often used in children's literature, like animation is used.
Yes.
Animation is a part of multimedia.
Yes. Yes.
Let us talk about make it even more simple. What is animation? Cartoons.
Yeah.
Cartoons are used.
Oh yes, children are the lover of cartoons.
Lover of cartoon. Cartoon is a kind of a multimedia text.
Okay.
So you see, it is used also, you know, for making storylines becoming. For example, if you have a mathematics lesson, and we also have a multimedia package in mathematics, it will make the interest. It will make it all the more interesting.
Yeah, you know, students, when you are doing this course, editing books for children, you will be 1 month, you will have 1 month of apprenticeship, your training period. During this training period, we have tied up with the different publishing houses, whom we have requested to take special care of the graphics, the use of the multimedia, the preparation of the cartoon films and all for children, because these days the children have become so demanding that they are not only satisfied with a book. Like we were satisfied with only one book because we wanted to imagine it. Suppose we were reading the Ramayana, we used to imagine how would be Ram, how would be Ravan. But these days the children have become so demanding that they want ready-made Ram and Ravan in the form of cartoons, even more so. Even Ganesha should be a cartoon to them, Hanuman should be a cartoon to them. So they love the cartoons. So in this course, when the apprenticeship, the training of 1 month is given to you, we will take special care that this type of training is given to you.
Yes, so multimedia is an interactive tool.
Yes.
For example, if we are learning, if we are doing something in history,
Yeah.
again I'm talking about China, or Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
We are learning about Taj Mahal. When we see a picture of a Taj Mahal,
Yeah.
when we see the picture of Shah Jahan, and we see, we also hear, you know, someone talking at the back, we can learn better.
Okay.
So it is audio as well as video. A
Okay.
combination of audio and video
Okay.
is multimedia.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Okay, so what are the basic skills that the editor must have with him?
There are certain questions that the editors should keep in mind while doing the
Yeah.
multimedia.
Yeah,
How much do the children already know about the material?
yeah.
Like, for example, if it is about Shah Jahan, do they already know about Shah Jahan?
Okay.
And how much of material do they know already?
Yeah.
What is the age group of the children?
Yes.
And how is it going to be shown to the children?
Yes, so age group we are taking special care because we are dealing with three types of children. Very small children of 3 to 7 years, then children of 9 to 11 years, and then children who are 12 to 15 years. So we are taking care of these three categories of children, and today we had a lot of discussion, very interesting, very fruitful and creative discussion with our expert Mrs. Gauri Nilakanthan regarding the use of graphics and the use of the multimedia in children's literature. We will continue this discussion further in our future classes, and today I would like to specially thank Mrs. Nilakanthan for being with us here. And in case you have any doubts, any queries regarding this subject, you can email me at nandinisahu@igno.ac.in. I am a reader in English department, and you can contact me regarding this program. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.